I have got a project here. Let me see if I can get things straightened out. I should have started off with this first. I should have started off with this first. Okay. I've got this project right here I'm putting together. It's for a preamp. It's designed for, like, if you got a microphone that doesn't put out any kind of power or nothing. Sometimes the signal is too low for the amplifier to pick it up. You put this little preamp in the middle of that, and it gives out just enough signal for the amp to pick it up to where you've actually got a microphone that sounds with some volume. And this is the layout right here for it. This is the components that come with it. We're going to go over that. This is the board that it's going to go on. And this is the schematic down here. I want to try to cover all of it where it makes sense with common everyday words. Keep it simple. So let me collect my magnifying glass and we will get started. Okay. Right here you've got, I believe it's 6 resistors, 100K. And right here shows you what the resistor looks like on the board. See that emblem right there? And then you've got one resistor that's 2200K. And that's it right there. It shows you on the board. Now it will go standing up like this, and I'll show you in a minute. But then you got some capacitors. Looks like 5 capacitors. And they're 10 microfarads, every one of them. They're all the same. And they will go on the board, and they'll look like this. You'll see this emblem right here on the board. Okay? And then you got a trimming pot here. It's a 250K. And then, 220 to 250K here. And that's what it looks like on the board, on the schematic. That's what I should have said on the schematic. That went on the schematic too. Okay. And down here is the schematic. Alright. This is where it comes in. And here's your, this is where resistor goes on R1. A resistor of 100K goes on also on R2. And this right here shows a capacitor. Goes right there. This is another resistor here on R3. And R5, there's another resistor, 100K. There is 2 back-to-back with the negatives coming together. 2 capacitors right there come together. 10 microfarads each. But they're all microfarad, 10 microfarads. Okay. And then you've got the 2200K goes at R7. Let's go here and look. Let's find R7. Alright, that's the, this is where that trimming pot goes, right here. This is the R7 right here. This is for that 2200 resistor. It's the only resistor in that bunch. This right here is where the 2 capacitors go, back to back. You got a negative side and a positive side. It shows you on the board. This is actually the board you're looking at. So that's where the positive go. Negative, negative, positive. And this is the IC chip here, which is a, hold on, this is a LM358 chip. I don't know a lot about that chip. I can't tell you much about it. But it's going to be a pretty simple layout. See, right here is a resistor, 100K. All these are 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think 5 somewheres is all 100Ks. There's another capacitor. That's just a hole. And that's where the first resistor goes. There's a capacitor. It's mainly capacitors and the chip. Wasn't for the IC chip, you couldn't say much about this unit. With 7 resistors and 5 capacitors and 1 chip and a tuning pot here, that's it. It's fairly simple. So Yeah, I did this. I showed it to you, didn't I? Yeah. So this is what we're going to be putting together right here. That's that 2200 resistor, ohm resistor, goes right there. It's behind that pot there, that trimming pot. And but yeah, let's go solder some stuff up. Okay, I want to go over my setup first, and where I'm going to be working and doing a video on putting this this little kit here together. This is all my soldering setup. I use the liquid rosin. I have been using the paste and the hard stuff in the past, but I just changed over to this, and I like this a lot. That's the number on it right there, and makes it a lot nicer. But my soldering iron, clean the tip, and my little helping hands here. And I put my solder, it's in this little pouch here, but I put some tape on it and clamped it right here where I can move it around if I need to. Okay? And the pad, I really like this pad. This pad here is burn proof, but it's got a texture to it to where things do not roll that far. Like, you can put small stuff in here, but even like with this screw that would roll a lot, see, it don't roll much. And in there it just stops. But I got everything laid out here, except I don't need that screw over there. I get confused. I go to putting that screw in there and something might not work out. But I'm going to set the camera up on here. I've got a magnifying glass here. I'm going to try to share it with the camera. And let's see what we can do. See if we can put this kit together. It won't take long. Okay, the first thing I'm going to put on there is this socket here for the chip. And all the chips and sockets and stuff are going to have a little notch in them. This notch is right there. It's real super small. And there's always going to be identification here for the little socket. I mean, for the little indentation here, for it to go. And the chip's going to have the same thing. It'll go in the same direction. So the first thing is make sure you got all your pins here straight for it to go down in there. If they're not straight, it'll be a little bit difficult to get them in there. I see one that's a little off here. Okay. Alright, now the indentation is up here at the front, up here. And this is the direction it goes in right here. Slides in there. Now I'm going to hold it, but I'm going to flip it over. And then I'm going to bend over a couple of the pins to get it where it just stays in place. Well, maybe all four corners. Okay. Now I think it's ready to solder. Now you got to bear with me. It's kind of tight to try to solder and work around the camera and everything. But I'm going to put a little bit of a drop on each one. That way it goes ahead and gets it all done. Alright, and I got my solder right over here. See, it's hooked up on that. Makes it a lot easier. And the iron should be heated up by now. Now I'm going to try to hold this in my hand, do three things here at once with two hands. That one's tacked. That one's tacked. I might have to change tips. This is a flat tip on here. I may have to put the pointed one. Well, first of all, I'm not bending any of those down. I need to bend them down. These others here, it'd make it easier. Well, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll solder them like that. Now you got to make sure when you solder it not to put a cold solder, but not one too hot to burn the board up. Okay, that's in there. Alright, what we're going to do next. Maybe we should go ahead and get that 2200 resistor out of the way, because it's the only one in the bunch that's like that. All the rest of them are 100K. Okay, let's flip it over, and it's going right behind that pot. It's going to R7 right there. There's where the pot goes. Kind of good to overlook your stuff real good before you get started. And you got to angle it, you got to bend it like that. Where it was laying down, you got to bend one leg coming back. And it doesn't matter which way it bends it, it'll go either way. Okay, let me look at it. Yeah. Probably somewhere is right in there. Now I'm going to try to bend these legs out where to stay station for me to solder it. That looks pretty good. Alright. I gotta pull some more solder out. Oh, I gotta put the sticky stuff on there. The cleaner. Okay. They are so close, I think I soldered both of them at the same time. I think I did. And we'll go ahead and cut these extensions off of there. Make sure I did it right. Yep, looks good. It's looking good. Okay. Alright, let's see. I like to work to the middle and work my way out. So it looks like we're going to do a couple of the 100K resistors right here. Alright. Here's one. Oh, we got 100K that's got to go over here too at R5 right here. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it. And what you do, you got one straight, and you got one kind of bending over like that there. Alright. Get them kind of close because the holes are going to be close. I bent this one the wrong way earlier, so let me see if I can straighten it out. Okay. Alright, so it goes to R5 right here. We're going to look at it on the side. that pushed in a little bit, because everything goes in here tight. You got a capacitor, two capacitors, it's going to go right there. So there's not a whole lot of room here to work with. Okay. I always put the sticky stuff first. The flux. You just want it on there just to where it combs shape to that. Okay. Let's look at it. You know, you got to check it because they're so small. You got to check it and make sure that you didn't bridge the solder over to each other there. You know, little things like that. And then we'll cut these out of the way. There's the two uprights. A 2200K and a 100K. Okay. We could go on and do the capacitors there. The 10 microfarad capacitors. And you got to look at this side here, see that little stripe? That's the negative side. The other side with no stripe is your positive side. Actually, that's what that little symbol there is. There's the negative emblem right there. Okay. Now, saying all that, I got to make sure to do this right, huh? Okay, it went down in there. I'm going to look at it again. See, it shows on the board the positive and the negative. Positive and the negative. Okay, that's the way we're going. Alright, we'll keep it simple. That way you can understand it good. Alright, I want to look at it. I just bent those over. Okay, I don't want those touching when I go to solder them. See right here how close those are? Okay. Well, that is close. Close. Let me do this one first. Oh, see it bridged over right there. I got to get that off of there. I think I just did. But we got to check it. We got to get close and check it, because if it's still bridged over, it is not going to work. Make sure. These things are so minute. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I may angle it like this and see if I can get some of that soldered down just a little bit. I'm about to get my other capacitor in there first. Yeah, and then try to get that soldered down just a little bit. It may be okay, but I don't want to take a chance. Okay, we're looking for the positive. There's the negative. The other side's positive. And two negatives go toward each other. Okay, the two negatives go toward each other. Even if these two negatives touched right there, it wouldn't hurt it, because they go together underneath the board anyhow, right through there, through the circuit board. Okay. Let's pin it over here first. See, I ended up touching both of them together anyhow. I may have to turn this iron off, let it cool off, and change tips. This tip is going to be too big, I'm afraid. I'm afraid it's going to be too big. It's hard to get in there. It's tight. Okay, let me, if I can... I'm trying to take some of that solder off. There's a little bit too much. Trying to take some off and wipe it off. I really do need to change tips. But it's looking pretty good right here. Except right here. Kind of close. Okay. Yeah, the two grounds right there are still touching. It won't hurt them, because they touched in the circuit board anyhow. But I just don't like shoddy work, so I may try to get some more of that off of there. Okay, I'm just dragging some of that solder off of there. Alright, let's look at it. I think it's okay. It sure is in there tight. I don't know if my tips are in. Let me, I'm going to change tips and I'm going to come back to you.